Hi everyone, Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. There's been a lot of discussion in the media for many years now about housing affordability and the principal question of what is it that drives our prices primarily of houses so high in our bigger cities. Lots of pet theories and silver bullet solutions put forward around negative gearing tax benefits, about the impact of foreign investors, about the impact of large numbers of overseas migrants coming into our largest cities. But more recently, the debate has turned to some of the more fundamental causes. I think it all relates to planning issues. There was a paper put out recently by the Reserve Bank. Some of the key people who work for the Reserve Bank of Australia are putting forward some research to support the view that it's restrictive planning policies that restrict density in our major cities that is the prime cause for land and house prices going so high. There was a certain amount of support for that view also in a recent paper from the Grattan Institute, which put forward a number of arguments, but there was a heavy concentration in that paper also on the impact of restrictions, planning issues and bureaucracy, delays, costs imposed by the various levels of government. Michael Matusik, long-time research analyst based in Brisbane, put forward his main reasons to answer the question why housing prices are so high. He put forward 5 big reasons, but the first of them was urban planning policies, and he put in his report a quote from the Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe, who said recently, if you asked anyone how a country would deliver high housing prices, you'd find that we've made all the right choices in Australia. We live in a few coastal cities, we underinvest in transport, have a liberal financial system, and we don't want high density. So again, there was that expression of the view that it's our opposition in our inner and middle ring suburbs of our major cities to increase density that has forced up property values in those areas and through a ripple effect values everywhere. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think we're starting to really get down to the fundamental core issues that have caused our house prices to be so high, particularly in Sydney and to a slightly lesser extent Melbourne. There are a couple of instances in the news this week of some major developments that are proposed and but are being proposed and opposed. Developments that are being put forward by various proponents, but causing considerable opposition from either government or the community. There's one plan to convert some industrial land in Sydney's inner west to apartments, and that has actually been refused by the New South Wales government after considerable opposition and objection by the local council and also people in the community. And then we have in the middle ring suburbs of Melbourne a petition which apparently has been signed by 3,500 residents of the local government area of Whitehorse, calling for a stop to all development in central Box Hill, a suburb in that area, because they're concerned that there's too many apartment projects in that particular suburb, changing the nature of the suburb. So we have these opposing forces which are all part of this affordability equation. On the one hand, it's understandable that people who live in a nice suburb not wanting the character of it to be changed by extensive development, particularly with medium or high-rise apartments. But on the other hand, we have the consequences of that, which is the restriction of density, which means that property values continue to rise exponentially in some of those areas. So it's a difficult issue. You can see the viewpoints from all sides. You can see why local residents don't want their fine suburbs to be overrun with apartment development and townhouse development. And on the other hand, we have this issue that prices rise as a consequence of that, and younger people coming through find it hard to be able to afford those prices and get into a first home. So I don't know what you think, but those are just some of the issues that are increasingly coming to the fore in this debate about affordability. I think it's an important issue, and I think we're now starting to get to the core of the real issues, and we can start to put aside furphies such as foreign investors and negatively geared Australian investors as being the primary cause of the problem. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Bus Potting signing off. I'll talk to you again soon.